All right, sick, sick. We're live with Crypto Jenkins. We
What
have to
is good?
troubleshoot. Hello, introduce yourself. Crypto Jenkins.
What's up, everybody? I'm Jenkins. Shout out to you, Gerardo. Thanks for having me here. We've been talking about doing the stream for a long time now. I know a lot of people
Long.
have been asking for it. I'm finally glad our schedules kind of meshed. But yeah, I'm Jenkins. For the people that don't know me, I do chart work, technical analysis. I don't rely solely on just the technicals, but I like to look at charts, kind of give people an idea of what the price is doing in the short term level. And then obviously you guys have Gerardo. He gives you all the good stuff long term on the macro scale. So I think we're in for a good show. We're going to talk about some good things, dive in short term, long term, and then yeah, it's pretty much me.
It's pretty much what we're gonna do. I was just getting the thumbnail ready. Let's troubleshoot some audio. Make sure no one hears any weird echo. People saying it sounds good, I think. But yeah, welcome in, bro. This has been a long time coming. Like you said, we've been talking about it, but I don't know why our schedules haven't collided. We're both busy and just like it happens. But yeah, glad we're both here finally. We're gonna dive into the short term that Jenkins is super good at. Like I was saying earlier in the green room, what I think he should be famous for, his claim to fame, is that calling that 11-cent wick with within like, what was it, like 2% accuracy? It was nuts. That
I mean,
bottom near
man,
the end of stack phase.
yeah, I mean, I'll show everybody what that was once I pull up my chart and everything. But yeah, I mean, I
Totally.
just kind of. And just to be clear, like I'm not a type of guy that'll get on here and call like trades or signals. I just literally look at the chart and try to make it simple for people, and just look at certain areas that I wouldn't be shocked to see price hit based on what history's shown us. So, but yeah, it's pretty cool to see how precise a lot of these things have been, but also too like it's just kind of fun because obviously if I'm a new person at Hex, the first thing I'm going to do is look at your channel. I'm not even just saying that just to say that, like, you're kind of like the cash cow in Hex right now, like with
Oh, nice.
streamers, your data and stuff. So obviously, if you want to get that next level data, we're all going to your website, and your streams, because you make everything make so much sense on a macro scale backed with data. But as good as that is, I know everybody's out there checking their staker app like 20 times a day. They want to know, oh, why is the price going up? Why is it going down? Well, that's kind of where I just step in, maybe be a calm inside the chaos during a pullback or whatnot. But, it's good to have everything on every aspect.
Definitely, man. Yeah, much appreciated what you do. Because like you said, people who are new to crypto or just investing in general don't really get that things don't go straight up or straight down. And you're definitely a voice of reason in the space, as I try to be too, right? Just try to stick to the facts. We don't really talk about news other than like narratives, I guess, that may drive certain moves. But other than that, it's mainly sticking to just just facts and stats.
I think that's good too, especially when you're talking about like any type of analysis, whether it's fundamental or technical. Like it's important to be factual and not so opinionated. And it's easy to offer your opinion once you get a platform, but keeping everything logical and backed with data. There's no debate really at that point.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, let's dive into some of the short-term charts. I know that's what people are really here for. But you can pull up your screen actually, because you have the goods here. Let's pull yours up.
All right, let me know when I'm good.
I think you're good, bro. I can see it.
Alrighty. So yeah, I'll kind of dive in a little bit, give a little bit of a spiel. I'll look short term, and then I'll kind of zoom out to the daily and weekly chart just to give a little idea of what I'm seeing and what I'm thinking. Actually, no, I'll go weekly down to short term before you get to that super macro stuff. But for everybody that's out there, I mean, and Gerardo, obviously, just stop me like if you need to at any point. For everybody that's out there, I know people are kind of not freaking out, but a lot of people get worried when the price pulls back. And, we were at 49.50 cents. Price came down to like 35 a couple times and whatnot. And people they freak out and almost panic when they see, the price go down a few pennies. And it's just like, all you guys have to really do if you're ever worried or getting emotional about the Hex price, just zoom out. Because like when you zoom out, this is what you'll see. And this is trading view. This isn't all of Hex. This is just kind of like this year's data and a little bit of last year, but it's still the same data. But just zoom out and you can see like the dips that people might be worrying about today. They're so minimal. We've seen bigger dips in the past, and honestly, I'm kind of surprised we didn't get a bigger dip, from this top already. And that just kind of shows the strength and what the Hex price is showing us. But Just to dive into what I'm seeing. For the people that know me, I just like to keep the technical analysis simple. I look for just certain trends. I like to see, waves inside the trends, simple moves like impulse correction, stuff like that, patterns like triangles and stuff like that, just to kind of see tension points, price trap areas, because whenever you see price get trapped in a pullback, that usually means, an impulse is imminent, depending on the trend. So if I just zoom out on the price right now, we're at 41 cents. Everyone's been paying attention. We dropped under 39 cents a couple times, but on the weekly scale, just look at this. Like the pullbacks, it's super minimal, right? So right now, every candle right here is a weekly candle. So if you just zoom out, we still have 3 days left in this candle, but everything turns into a wick. So these drops that people think are massive, they're not lasting long. And I know you see this, Gerardo. Everyone's seen that whale bot account. Like, how many tens of millions of dollars are being sold in HEX right now? Like every day, there's a ton of people selling, and I would be panicking if I just sold $2 million worth of my HEX yesterday and I still see the price above 41 cents when I wake up today. I would be kind of panicking then. So the price really doesn't care. But with that being said, I mean, looking at triangles and pullbacks, like if you really want to put this together here, all these wicks, they're actually creating higher lows, right? So if I just draw a simple trend line at the bottom, it's kind of forming, the start of a triangle pattern on the weekly chart. This is going to take a lot longer to play out, but I think this is the first like true triangle we've had with the volume in HEX's history. And you see the top here, lower high, and I mean, I guess so far right now it's a lower high, but we might be forming some sort of a triangle pattern. And if you guys follow me on Twitter, I've been talking about the next pump should happen by October 10th. If you just kind of see where this triangle's forming to, if I just draw this on the weekly chart, October 11th is kind of where like it would meet in the middle if it decides to go that low, right? So whenever you see a triangle like that, I mean, price is just building tension, getting ready to pump. Simple impulse correction right now. The impulse is kind of coming. It's just a matter of time. But another thing I want to point out before I go down to the daily chart and then the 4 hour is, if you guys follow me or know anything about me, I talk a lot about like bullish or engulfing candles, and especially doji candles. It's typically where you see like a big candle push up followed by like a small candle push down, but there's like a wick there and maybe a wick, at the top. And then the next candle immediately just swallows that up. That's usually a bullish sign. And we see those a lot in the 4 hour and the daily chart. Right now, we can't count this out. I'm not saying the price will finish this week positive, but we have 3 days and 7 hours over here. If this candle finishes positive, I would not be shocked, because if it finishes positive, I mean, we might be creating that exact pattern right here. We have the big impulse candle, the doji with the massive wick to trick people. If this thing finishes positive, I mean, that's going to show a strong pattern. And if the price plays out that way in the next, 3 days, the price, I mean, that's going to be scary bullish. I talk about that a lot. That would be something super scary for anybody that's bearish.
It's definitely interesting to watch how, like, it doesn't always respect certain things you would think. Like, traditionally, what do you think it would have retested at the top of that, like, 22-cent wick at some point?
Like, which way, like down here, or which one are you talking about?
The 22-cent top, like July 14th.
Let's see, where's July at? Oh, okay. If I zoom out, sorry, I was like so zoomed in.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, so somewhere around like this range. Yeah, so I had a 25-cent box, but yeah, I mean, if I go to the daily chart now, this will give us a little bit better data to look at. That would make more sense, because what you're talking about, based on typical traditional, technical analysis, you would like to see a pullback come touch down this area where you see, price action here, or even all this, what you're talking about. There's a lot of stuff going on there. So if we're just being traditional about our technical analysis, we would love to see something like that and then come up. Obviously the price does not want to do that. We had our chance. Right? We had our chance at this 7-cent top, or it's like 48 cents to break down, boom, boom, boom type of thing,
That it almost reminds me of the like $1,200-$1,300 Bitcoin top that people kept waiting for, if you remember. Like, the previous local top in like 2013, 2014, and then it ran up to 20K. When it hit 3K, when it crashed back down, everyone was calling for like that 1K level, and it never went back.
Never happened. And even
ever
after
it went
that
back.
too, after we kind of hit 3K, broke above like 10 grand later on in the year, we got
Yeah.
to like 14, 12, 14.
Yeah.
Me personally, I'm like, man, technical analysis shows there's a gap at that 9,600 range. I'm still waiting for that 9,600 touch till this day. It might never come. So
Oh,
that's the
that's
thing.
hilarious.
That's what
Yeah,
TA. I mean, TA is not like the end all be all, but
definitely
it
not.
shows good stuff. By the way, what
Like,
Jardo was talking about, that
yeah.
11 cent touch, that pullback after the sacrifice phase. If you guys follow me, you remember that range. We kind of called out this range. It was exactly 10.8 pennies, and it got there. It went a little lower, but I mean, that's what he was talking about for those that don't know. So what's it called?
Appreciate the super chat, La Turrier.
Oh
Cool.
yeah.
Thank you for that. Just wanted to shout that out.
Yeah. Stop me and shout those out because, like I said, I'm not even in the chat, so you kind
No worries,
of
bro. No worries.
kind of keep me in check there.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so based on that the weekly chart is showing a strong triangle if it decides to pull back any lower. Based on what we're just seeing, I mean, the people that could sell are selling hundreds or tens of millions of dollars. I mean, it's a lot of money, and this price is it's in this 41 to 43 cent range. I've been talking about for like the last 4 to 6 weeks. Excuse me, hang on. Ooh. Sorry, it's I've been talking about this 41 to 43 cent range as our initial target off that 25 cent pump, and we've been just flirting in this range for a long time. So without doing too much analysis, I would just simply like to see a break of this range, retest this purple box ish as a support line. Once that happens, we get that confirmation like it's up and away, and then we'll be looking for our next top. I mean, we're flirting with $1 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So with that, I mean, now we're channeling sideways on the daily chart. I'll go down to the 4-hour now because I know the short-term stuff is kind of what we want to see, at least on my end.
Right.
And off this top, I mean, let me take this off real quick. Off this top here, I mean, we're forming a triangle pattern on the 4-hour chart. So initially what we had, printing, we had something like this. We had almost like a triple top, and this is just kind of a general line where the top line's flat. Bottom line was, just going up. This is like last time I was on stream. We were around like this area and we were holding this specific trend. Right. That obviously has kind of been broken down. Now we're flirting with this. So if you're being a traditional TA guy and you're looking at any other coin outside of HEX, you can see something like, oh my God, here's a break. If we retest this, we could push down. I mean, but HEX has had every reason to already do that. I mean, back here, we had a reason to push down. Didn't happen. Down here, we had the break and retest, break, retest. We had a reason to push down. Didn't happen. So I think it's time to just stop looking for short-term bearish plays in HEX. I mean, like I said, we have every reason to drop, especially with everybody selling. It's just not happening. But the reason why I brought up this old triangle is because it's sort of invalidated in this specific pattern doesn't mean much, because in that we're printing out and more of a price trap triangle. These are my favorite type of triangles where you get lower highs and higher lows. Starting here. Now we're starting to get a descending top line with the ascending bottom line. And this is the type of stuff that I love to see. This makes me really excited. So when I see something like this, I mean, this is what HEX is printing right now. When you see something like this, I typically like to see, like 5-ish waves or so. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe we're in the midst of a 5th wave. After we see 5 waves, if we can get this 5th wave kind of come tap 44-ish cents or so, finally take that final pullback in this 41 to 43 cent range, finally flip that to a support and then break, that would be picture perfect TA. And I would bank on that happening. I've been buying HEX. I've been accumulating more. I've been buying every pullback, but I still buy under 40 cents or whatnot. But when I tell people like HEX under $1 is cheap, I mean that, and I actually act on that because it really is cheap. So if you're here, you're new to HEX, like you're early. Don't worry. Not financial advice by any means, but you're in good hands with this chart.
Right.
So
like regardless if it's a flat top triangle or if it's like this wedge thing that is forming, it's a continuation pattern, technically speaking, coming after this huge run up. So it's like it's very bullish. But I'm really curious what your take is, because the way you drew that ascending triangle, that flat top triangle with the bearish kind of fake out, because even technically speaking, we get fake outs. Fake outs are a thing, right?
Yeah,
so I wanted you to compare. You might have to pull up the V1 chart, because this reminds me of so much this ascending triangle we saw in September of last year, where it was picture perfect until this bearish fake out break, really similar to what happened recently, and then it just broke to the upside and like I think at 4x after that, almost 4x or so. So just wanted to
Let
get
me
your
see if I can get
take on
Uniswap
it.
V. I think this is V1 over here that'll show the whole history. Here we go. Let me zoom out on this real quick. Oh wait, this is no. Hang on. Oh wait, I want an auto. I don't know if this is exactly the Uniswap V1, but you're basically just looking for the chart that's showing the entire history of Hex. Whoops. Or what? Or what was the exact range or the date you're looking for?
Here,
Hello?
let me I can pull it up
Oh,
actually if you
sorry.
like.
Yeah, go ahead and pull it up.
Here, let's pull this up real quick. All right, I think it'll show up on this chart, but let me actually pull up the Uniswap V1
You might want to make
chart.
your chart bigger because like I think it's small. At least on my screen, I think that's the viewer's experience too. I think we're like half and half right now.
We are. All right, let's do this then. Is that better?
Let me see.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
whoops.
better.
Yep.
Slightly better. Here, let's zoom in here. Oh, here, found it. All right, last September's ascending chart. I'm really curious on your take on this and a few other things. But right
Okay.
here, do you see that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's forming almost the same thing, but a
You got
little
your flat
different.
top, and
Yeah.
then here, let's do like a. What were you on? 6 hour, 4 hour?
I was on 4 hour with that last one I showed.
All right. The rare occasion you'll find me in the 4 hour. Let's go.
We're bringing Gerardo out of his element right now.
Definitely. Like, look at this. Look at this fake out break right here.
That final kind of, it's like a liquidation if you're a trader.
Right. Precisely. Like it broke stop loss. A lot of people might have had it like 37 cents.
Yeah.
Wick down to like 35. It basically took out this low and this low. So previous two lows.
Yeah. Yeah, and the ironic thing is, whenever you see those massive, like I call those like institutional candles or like manipulation candles. It's typically in regular markets there is, but it always touch those rapid candles always go back to previous price action. As you can see, there's price action in the exact bottom too. It's an interesting way that it works. Oh, whoops! I think your chart went off.
Definitely, bro. So what do you think about that compared to
what we're seeing now?
Yeah,
so sort of the same thing. It looks like so we have like the same like flat top going across. I feel like that the tops are a little bit shorter, but it doesn't have to be picture perfect. But yeah, I mean, what it's like printing out, the other one's kind of a picture perfect type of like liquidation candle, so to say, at the very end of it. Right now, I mean, want to zoom in on the current price right now so I can see the pattern on your chart real quick, so I can kind of see
the daily. Or
yes.
this one? Okay.
Yeah, no, it looks good. So what I'm seeing, yeah, I mean, it's the same type of thing. If anything, if we're printing the same type of pattern, this one it looks a lot more bullish than that previous ascending triangle because the quote unquote, if we just got that liquidation candle, which is that last red one down with the wick, that one didn't go down nearly as far as the one from last year. The one right next to it too. That wick, yeah. If that's the liquidation that kind of tricked us out of breaking that triangle in a bearish pattern, it's a bullish thing for Hex because it could have went down a lot lower than that. And it just didn't. And if you go to the left, right there's a doji candle right at the very end. Scoot over like a little more right there. Yeah, see that red candle following it? That exact doji pattern, the one I kind of drew out, that's what we saw in Hex. So that kind of shows us that the price is still going up, but it doesn't shock me to see wicks coming down to that range just to kind of get some, some bid orders, opening up there. But that's a key range looking at that exact chart.
Got you.
Look at that, So if there is a liquidation candle, I mean, it hasn't happened yet, but there might not be one. But if it does happen, like a $10 million market sell that drops us under that for an hour or two, whatever, price is still going to pump. But this is looking a lot more bullish than the other one from last year, so that's a good sign. Now that we bring that up,
that's a great point. I never noticed that these wicks were basically respecting this whatever was engulfed by this doji right here.
Yeah.
Point. I mean, you could see the same thing happen with maybe. I mean, look at this doji right here.
Yeah, yeah,
in the
exactly.
future.
It just didn't. It never broke yet, which shows. I mean, the sell pressure is there. We see it. The sell pressure is there. People are selling their butts off right now in Hex, and I get it. Like me personally, as much as I love to see the price pump as fast as it does, I like to see the healthy structure because the last thing
Yes.
we want to print
Yeah.
out is a Dogecoin type of chart where it just
Right.
goes straight up and then just slowly just drains, the rest of the entire year, which I think Dogecoin's at under 20 cents now. We don't want something like that. So these pullbacks are just confirmation that we have healthy structure. But the areas that these wicks are coming back down to just kind of confirm, like, okay, it's normal to touch these areas on the pullback. And that's just all we're seeing right now. So it's just a matter of time before we just get this next pump. And then obviously after the next pump, we're going, to another pullback. And that's just how this entire year, all of 2020 has been one solid. After we broke that 1.5 penny range, it's just been one solid impulse correction, bull flag, triangle. Like we see that over and over and over,
Right.
nothing
Right.
new.
Right. And the interesting thing is, like, this is, I think, one of the first sort of flat reaccumulation zones I've seen in Hex, because they're usually these falling parallel channels.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
rarely do you get like an ascending triangle. I mean, this one, last one I remembered was from back here. But this like flat kind of reaccumulation zone between 35 and like 50
Yeah.
I think it's unprecedented in Hex. But yeah, it's interesting. It looks like a flag to me as per usual. We'll see.
It's just it's exactly. It's just another flag. It's just not as picture perfect because it's more bullish than previous, which is a good thing if you're buying Hex.
Precisely. Ricardo Solis is watching us on his lunch break and donated $5.
Nice.
Appreciate
Shout
it,
out
bro.
to you, Ricardo.
Enjoy. Yeah, shout out to Ricardo. Legend. All right. Yeah, dude. Awesome. Do you have anything more to say on the short-term charts? Do you want to pull up yours or something?
I mean, so that's kind of it. I mean, nothing really changes, unfortunately. I mean, I know I can come on here and stream updates every week, but the price doesn't change too much. I mean, the hour chart, we could look for things, but that triangle we just brought up on the 4 hour, like it looks like on the picture perfect TA, we kind of just broke the bottom line, maybe like a potential fake breakout to the downside, but like not really. I mean, we kind of covered that. I would like to see, because what's really important, all the stuff that I'm talking about right now, it's not going to matter in 2 weeks when the price, starts making, its next all-time high. What really matters is kind of like, where are we going? Right. And that's what I want to start focusing on. And this is you right here. This is where Gerardo comes in and gives us all the keys. So I want to see what you got. And I want to look at your charts that you put together on that Look into Hex website. So this is exciting to I want to pick your mind too, for myself and on behalf of probably a million other people in the community. So,
all right, awesome. Yeah, dude, let's go. I guess as a segue from the 4 hour into the macro, just some quick daily. And I just wanted your final take on this, because I do this a lot. Whenever I start a video with some TA, my go-to is this like 20-day MA region, just because recently it's always been perfect reaccumulation, like these spots to reaccumulate beneath these bands. And we just dipped beneath it barely. And so I don't know, man. What's your take on this? And then I'll jump into the LookIntoHex charts.
Yeah, can you zoom in a little bit and what the current price is kind of at with those MAs? I can't see it too vividly. Okay, let's see. So it looks like basically from what I'm just seeing on your MAs, when the red line crosses above the blue, it's a good thing. When the red line crosses below, kind of signals some form of a pullback. So we're kind of just waiting for that next cross, like a twist to get that impulse.
Yep.
I mean, it looks bullish to me, very bullish. It looks normal, so to say. It doesn't look like any potential breakdown, but I think, yeah, like you those are kind of spot on right now. It's actually good to see this pullback drag out. Like I said, we don't have that perfect bull flag. We kind of just went sideways for this flag. It's like a flag in the wind right now. But it's good that it's dragging on this long, because even like the indicators and the moving averages are starting to catch up to the last impulse, and then that's a good sign. That's healthy structure too. So obviously for me, healthy structure is just seeing everything we talked about. But when you start seeing, moving averages and stuff kind of correlate with that, it looks good. I just think right now, like this little kind of teacup that's printing out, we had that big red candle. Now we have back-to-back green candles as of right now. It's just a matter of time. Maybe it'll kind of drag on a little bit, maybe create that fifth wave in the triangle I just drew. and then do a final pullback and then take off, and that's where the red line just crosses the blue again. It looks good to me from the way you have it set up.
Nice. So up and to the right is your answer.
Yeah, and that's easy. I mean, anybody could have told you that, but yeah.
Right. I mean, just seeing it from all these different angles, I think is useful, so people don't like lose their mind. Like, oh wait, this has happened 7, 8, 10 times in the past few months. Oh, okay, that kind of vibe. But yeah, let's jump into the look into hex charts. Yeah, bro, go ahead. I guess we can flip the interview.
So yeah, let me see. So is this the top? Are these the first two charts on the page? So okay, yes. That's a bad question. What I would start with is I want to look at the chart you have that compares the hex price to Ethereum's price and to the Bitcoin price. Those comparisons are key, and you got a massive what's it called, super chat. If you want to acknowledge that real quick.
Oh my goodness,
John Wick.
Oh Lord. LookIntoHex.com, John Wick, appreciate it, bro. He says the site is phenomenal. He directs new Hexkins there, and they instantly see the validation, how Hex is performing versus ETH and versus BTC initial launch performances. Cheers. Big cheers, John Wick. That is much appreciated, bro.
Oh, yeah. And it's perfect. He's talking about exactly what we want to look at. So, yeah, John Wick, shout out to you. And, yeah, that site, I'm telling you, that Look Into Hex site, it's next level. I mean, Richard Hart, goes to that channel a lot now. He talks about, your website a lot. And yeah, if there's anybody new to Hex that wants to just have any skepticism, just crushed by data, go to Look Into Hex. I'm telling you, like, what you're doing is valuable. So you deserve everything that you're getting right now in this moment in time.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, like I never realized. It's cool because like having all the different charts, I'm realizing which ones are have the biggest impact. And these are game changers right here because it's comparing to what people already know and has already existed and been battle tested for 5 to wait, no, Ethereum's like what, 6 years old now?
Yeah. Bitcoin's over a decade.
13, yeah. So this stuff's been battle tested, and comparing Hex to those is like huge. And seeing like, oh wait, you're this early. This is basically buying Bitcoin at a few bucks. Like, oh, I get it now. Like hold. Staking helps you like hold it without you having to, willpower, because willpower is limited. So
of course. Oh yeah,
helps that. But yeah, I don't want to go into a rant there, but yeah, let's go into these charts. Do you want to see these individually, or do you want to see the Hex versus ETH versus BTC all simultaneous?
Yeah, I mean, let's I guess we can do them simultaneous. That'll probably be easier because we're looking at both anyways. I like to see some stuff on there because there's some interesting data and statistics we can come up with. Hang on one second. Where are we at? I lost where you're at on my computer. Oh, here we go. Okay, cool. Yeah, if you want to pull that up whenever you could, let's take a look at that because there's some interesting comparisons. I know while you pull it up, Hex is it was designed to kind of model ETH, right? The 10,000x in 2 years or whatever, 2.5 years. It did that. It achieved that at a much faster rate. And then what we have to kind of keep in mind now, like Hex is doing soon. Once probably on this next impulse, two things are going to happen in the next impulse, most likely. One for sure is Hex is going to go into areas that Ethereum's basically never been. Obviously, if you see that green line, I mean, it's your chart, I'm just kind of pointing out, but the green line that you have for Ethereum, the pink line that Hex is at, or whatever color that is, it's going to go higher than Ethereum's ever been. So not only is Hex fulfilling its design, but it's also doing Ethereum and then some. And it took Ethereum a few extra years. I mean, what's it been, like 6 years for Ethereum? Hex is almost 2 years. So, I mean, essentially, Hex is outperforming the lifetime of Ethereum and has done it at like a third of the rate of time, and it's doing Bitcoin's numbers in half the time. And that's insane to really think about. And then with that too, real quick, sorry not to talk so much, but the second thing I think is going to happen with this next Hex pump is it's going to flip Ethereum in market cap and be like the next, number 2 in the world. That's inevitable at this point. But that's something crazy to see. So how did you, I mean, like how do you come up with these? Like, how do you make these, I guess? Like, where do you get the mind for this?
No, totally. Let me answer these chats real quick. Someone said, let's get a John Wick to $500. And we got another super chat from Ross, $100. Thank you, bro. Appreciate that. Way to go. G-Man, keep it up as always, bro. You know it. This is what we're doing here. Yeah, bro, let's talk about these these charts. So you were asking where do I get the mine for these, or how do I make them?
Yeah, so like, what is the process in making these? I mean, this is like, I mean, the data, it's good. Like anybody can get the data, but like putting it all together, just what is your process on gathering all your
Got
information?
it. Got it. So I have to shout out credit where credit is due. Nomics.com is where I go. So it's
Okay.
pretty simple. You go to, like, if you want to do this yourself, you go to Nomics. You can do this for any coin, right? Hex right here. You go to historical data and you can download CSV data for your historical prices.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
And since Hex is relatively new, you only have 7 pages. I think each of these has 100 rows. So you just download these, it sends it to your email. You might need some to give it a little bit of time in between each download. Just, I think they have some like anti-spam kind of timer thing, but it's just 7 downloads. Then you get them into, I import them into Google Sheets,
Wow.
but you can import yours into Excel if you like Excel, or your favorite, you could even do something like MATLAB or Python or whatever you're good at, or it depends on what models you want to create. But I just use Google Sheets. And so for a chart like this, you have to normalize everything to the same spot at the beginning.
Of course.
So you just, once you have all the hex history, like from nomics, like I explained, from the beginning to now, you just create a new column and divide literally every single one by just the price of day one.
Oh, so
So
you make it sound simple. So I mean, we leave that up to you in this community. So we kind of rely on you for some stuff like this
totally,
now.
totally. No, I'm just like, if you want to do it on your own, you're kind of asking about the process. But yeah, that's pretty much it. You normalize everything to initial price for each coin. So now you have columns that all start at the number one and then just go off
Yeah,
to the races, which is what this is. And then
yeah,
you just plot it and boom, you have lifetime gains for all 3 coins. But yeah,
that's
I mean,
crazy.
Hex is killing, crushing, taking names. Just look at where it's at. 1,000x from launch price, which is huge. Ethereum didn't see that until like this cycle, actually.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's like years behind.
Sheesh.
It's
2,063 days. Hex did it in like a third of the time, like you said.
literally,
And
literally a
then it
third.
did Bitcoin gains. I think you're right. And about half the time.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy.
Percentage.
So this chart that you have sums it all together. Because I made a tweet the other day, kind of comparing, how long it took all these prices to get to where they're at, and obviously how much faster Hex did it. But like, just looking at this chart, this is key. This is probably the most important chart in all of Hex right now. Like, so for like going forward, if I'm doing my technical analysis videos, like I would be doing a disservice not to just keep showing the chart that you have here, because
Right.
this is unbelievable data. And like I said, the next Hex pump is going to put us higher than where any of that green is at on Ethereum. So like
Right. Right.
Ethereum's going to try to catch up to Hex, maybe 7 years late if it could. But I guess the thing I want to kind of talk about here and kind of get your opinion on and think your ideas on is, obviously Hex is crushing Bitcoin from where it started to where it's at now. So Bitcoin did at 6.5 million X, at its top. I mean, what do you think in the Hex price on the macro scale? So obviously Hex is going up and to the
Mhm.
right, and compared to these two coins, it looks like it's just a straight parabolic push from day one.
Yeah. Yeah.
How based on like the momentum and everything, I know a lot of people have a lot of questions on that. How do you foresee Hex? Does it keep up the same pace? Does it get faster? Does it kind of normalize like how Bitcoin did on that big blue stretch, or what do you think?
Yeah. That's a tricky question because you have to cross that bridge when you get there. But for now, I'd probably reference the regression rainbow model because again, this kind of, I guess, normalizes things. Let me explain. Let me bring
Yeah,
this
yeah.
chart up. Like this. This puts them on an even playing field because obviously Hex is whooping Ethereum, but each of them existing in their own little framework. This is kind of a blend of that data. So it tells you, this is what I would reference to in terms of the next year. Just because
Okay.
I pointed out how, and you can see it here actually, how Ethereum held its regression rainbow, which I created. Um,
So Ethereum's the purple dotted line. That's outside of the white line, which is hex.
Correct.
Okay.
And I created an actual exponential regression, which is just a straight line on a log chart for Ethereum, which it obviously broke over time. And that's why everyone looks at that bent over chart now. But it actually held like just straight lines on a log chart for the first 3 years. So that's why I think Hex can hold it for at least the first 3 years because it's outperforming ETH,
That's scary.
right? So it's
That's
like
scary.
it should hold it for at least 3 years because it's outperforming. That's the thesis there. And that would mean what? When did Hex launch? December 2019. So December 2022. We still have over a year, in my opinion, of holding this. That's why I only kind of cut this off until the end of the year.
So, and this is like a question that it's not, you're not going to get the right answer, but I mean, so based on what you just said, I mean, what numbers can Hex be flirting with, assuming it just follows exactly what the chart's showing at that
Yeah,
time?
it's not going to be perfect, even though
Yeah,
recently, like,
exactly.
it was really close to perfect. Like, it launched off the red same time ETH did. It created this cool bull flag almost identically. At this
Yeah.
point, it would have already launched off into pink, but we're kind of still consolidating. So it's going to be a bit different. But from now until May, we're talking like $2 to $25. But if this holds into December, I actually haven't looked at how far this goes. It's probably closer to $100. But that's assuming we hit pink by the end of the year next year, because
Yeah.
we can be literally, even if we hold it, like if the thesis is just keeping all your data within the rainbow, we could still be at the bottom of the rainbow, but red might be much, much higher. Like red is already 4, almost 5 late. So we're talking $5 to $100 potentially, which is a big range, obviously.
Yeah, of course. But the reason why I asked that, and like it's not crazy. I mean, so me, I'm a super conservative person when I talk about hex prices, just because like
Yeah,
there's too much moon boy talk going on out there. But
yeah.
I just drew on Twitter. I drew a simple trend line from like just starter price till what it's doing now. It's pointing at $1, but I think the exact date was like day 1200, which is like April 8th. I mean, it was pointing at $100 by April 8th of 2023. And it's
Wow.
kind of aligning like with your, it's with the rainbow regression chart of, or whatever, the Fibonacci one you had going on of, $100 towards like that December. So when people like, this isn't moon boy talk. This is actual data that's causing me and Gerardo ourselves to say this. We're not just saying this just to get you guys pumped. Like this is just reality, right? And it's exciting. It's something to be excited about. There's no like guarantees. Obviously, it's not financial advice ever, but like the same way we dreamed of us 1 penny, the same way we dreamed of 10 cents, we crush it and it's history, So like we just shift your mind to reality. Like we're just going to be talking dollars before you know it. And that's why I emphasize like sub $1 hex is going to be the cheapest thing you'll ever buy, probably in your lifetime, outside of, well, maybe Pulse in a couple months, but
Yeah, bro. Like if you told people last year, just a year ago, that Hex would be bearish at 38 cents, you would just be laughing hysterically.
Yeah, like calling you crazy. Like, what do you mean?
Right.
But
It's unreal, bro.
people
But
forget easily.
yeah, they normalize so quickly. They like get spoiled by the gains. But hey, I want to bring it back to this chart because you were you asking kind of where I see it if if it runs away from these, or?
Yeah, and just kind of your thoughts. Like what do you see based on what this is showing you now? What can, I guess, maybe you envision, or based on everything that that's inside your head, like what's your just thoughts and maybe some sort of a forecast on what you would expect to happen if you had to take a stab at it?
I mean, it's doing everything Bitcoin did in, like you said, 50-60% of the time. And so that would imply, if it keeps up this rate, it could imply like $5-6 hex in in the next like few hundred days.
Yeah.
But that's obviously super, super nuts. But I mean, who knows? It could happen. Like the regression rainbow, pink hits $5 in December. So
it's not Wales Only's out there talking. He's been talking 10 in December, and he knows he's a robot when it comes to the data. That dude's all math. So I mean, he knows a lot of stuff that we might not know. But so when you're saying $5-6 by December, I wouldn't count that out. Like me, I'm not going to go out here and be like it's going to happen. But I mean, it's out there, and if it happens, I at least don't be shocked. For the people that are watching.
Right. I mean, yeah, just look how it's performing relative to these other blue chip coins.
So
And
oh, sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
no, go ahead. No, I was kind
So,
of trailing
so
off.
that little Bitcoin top, like there's the impulse,
Yeah,
then there's like that long sideways trading. That the next top right, go to the one right next to it, just higher next to it, that top. So you see that long period of like sideways trading after it. It
this.
yeah. So Bitcoin has that, and you can kind of see Ethereum has the same type of pattern where it has a top and then another top and then a long sideways period of trading, right?
Mhm.
So would you assume that what's the case for Hex doing the same type of thing eventually, and what's the case against it? I guess.
I guess the case for it happening would be, I don't know, man. Like it's just different. It doesn't have the same negative externalities that something like Bitcoin or Hex does, where you have miners with electricity overhead.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously don't have the same tokenomics,
Or staking.
which right, staking being a huge part of it, which exports that inflation. You, I mean, it's just different. Um, but who knows, man? Like, yeah, who knows? Who knows? We might see a bear market in Hex, but we haven't yet. A traditional kind of 1 year long, a few years to reach all-time high again. Like maybe Hex is different because we've seen similar sized dips,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
not in the same time frame. We've seen 60, 70, 80, up to 85% dips. They just happen super quickly. So it's like, do we even get bear markets or do we just have 10 crashes a year kind of thing?
Yeah, because like the way I see Hex, I mean the impulses happen a lot faster, and the pull and the dips happen a lot quicker too. Like it just and everything, the price appreciation happens a lot faster, in that sense. But oh, I was gonna ask something. I was gonna say, what's it called? Shoot, man, I had something good too.
Hexologist says anything less than a million 2027 is bearish.
Hexologist, he's the legend right there. He's like the OG outside of Richard Hart. So follow him. If he says it, believe it. He was
For
talking
sure, bro.
201, I think $2.01. Some I can't remember the time frame, but I mean we're getting there. Maybe it was the end of the year,
201.
but
Yeah. That's close. That's close to my end of the year official prediction, which I just go off this, and this
mhm.
crosses $2.77.
Oh wow.
So
So we
that's
got Hexo and Gerardo in the same boat. So we
similar.
got
Yeah.
someone like
Yep.
Wales talking $10. You guys are above $2. Like these are some of the brightest minds in the community, at least in my opinion.
Thanks,
You know,
bro.
we're all in the same boat. So this is good. This is real good to
We
hear.
we could all be wrong too, which would just make
we
it
could.
hilarious. Who knows,
Yeah,
man?
but the thing with Hex, I mean, even if it did have that type of like long-term dip, like it would happen a
Oh,
lot shorter, right? You know. Oh,
yeah, totally.
yeah, shout him
Mark
out.
Marco the Hexkin, $100 super chat. Big shout out. Much appreciated, bro. He says, much love, everyone in chat. Gentlemen, love both of your work. So both of us, hell yeah. Hex 328, $3.28. Low
Mm,
$13.33. High end of year.
wow.
May next summer, he's saying May through July 2022. Hex
Mm,
50 to $100. Big wowza. That's
I'm
huge bullish.
I'm loving that. And Marco too. His name's everywhere, so he's doing super chats in every Hex stream I see. So shout out to Marco. He's probably got a lot of fat steaks from day one that are 5 days or whatnot. But shout out to you, Marco. But I like that. So I mean, the $100 Hex talk. I feel like that's just a conversation. We have to crack open that door and just have that conversation because it's like one of those things in Hex. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to see it to believe it, like in Bitcoin, like because it's doing what Bitcoin's done. But in Hex, you kind of just have to believe it, and then you see it, and then when you see it, it happens so fast that like it's like wow, what happened? Because I put a chart on the Twitter I was telling you about that has a Hex at $1 by April 8th of 2023. That I'm sticking with that. Like I said, I'm the conservative person I am, and I'm
$100,
rocking
right?
with that. So and we're all on the same page. It seems, at least on the grand scale of things. So. Shout out to Marco though.
You said $1. I think you meant
Oh
$100.
yeah, $100.
Right.
I gotta reprogram my mind.
No, I feel you, and you're right. We do have to start having that conversation because it could be here next year potentially. If like I don't want to say this year, that's Moon Boy talk, but next
Yeah.
year, I mean, I don't see it out of the cards. Because think about it, 2020, we did by the end of the year, it was like I think a 200x from beginning of the year to end of the year.
Maybe more. I mean, no, I could be. You know, I'm probably wrong.
300.
I'm probably. No, you're right. I think you're probably more right than me. I'm thinking like from start till like January of 21 is probably like 350. But yeah, just 2020 alone, you're probably right.
I think it's over 300x because January 5th was the bottom around 0.40 and then 5.6. And then the top was
Mhm.
around 2 cents. I remember the New Year's pump to 2
Yeah.
cents. Uh,
So yeah,
so that's
300
like,
ish X.
yeah, 300-ish X. And then if you've noticed the narrative all 2021, it's been from 1 penny to $1. It's been the dollar narrative. So that's your
Yeah.
100x. So maybe the narrative for next year is your $1 to $100 narrative.
Yeah, and those are just like 10x's, and well, that's 100x.
100x.
But like this year,
Yeah.
10 to 10 or 1 penny to 10 cents. It's kind of like it's just a small 10x that we just got so fast, But I mean,
Right.
100x. So someone was asking me on Twitter, I think this morning, I can't remember who, but they're saying like, oh, the $100 hex by April of 2023, is that rational or reasonable? I'm like, really? Like, just look at what the price has done. I'm lowballing, with these estimates. If it's doing 300x in 2020, over 100x or whatnot, or 200x in 2021. 2022, 2023, if we just, even if the X's keep going smaller and smaller, that dollar amount's going to fly. So the people that are here today in this stream or in Hex and before, like, we're still getting all those X's, whether the dollars go slower or the pennies go slower, but it's showing no signs of that slowing down. And it doesn't have to, like, what's rational in crypto? It does things that we've never seen before. So rationality is kind of just based on what you've seen before, and Hex is doing things that we've never seen before. So we can't just be rational. It's more skeptical, I guess, if I put it that way.
That's a great point when you say it's doing things that other coins have never done before.
Yeah.
Because at that point, it's like, if it keeps running away from everything else on this chart, some people have even speculated it might break above the pink on my models. And it's like, okay, that's a rare take I haven't heard, but cool. I'd be happy if that happened. That's like very happy to be wrong about that.
Yeah, of course.
But at some point you have to ask, like, okay, is it even useful comparing to these coins anymore if it's just doing different things and going into uncharted territory? Like, back to your question from a while ago, if it reaches these 6.5 million X gains and we're in the multiple hundreds of dollars and it just does it way quicker, like around here or something,
Yeah.
then at that point it's like, it's blue skies. It's price discovery mode on a next level.
Yeah. So for your ROI on the right side or the left side, the next level up horizontally is 100,000, right? Assuming, so you see Bitcoin, what's the bottom? So at the bottom, I can't see those numbers, 1,500, 2,000, 25. Like your name's blocking off what the number is. What is the bottom measuring? The 1,000, 1,500, 2 grand, 25, 3,000
days.
Oh, days. Okay, perfect. So assuming roughly, let's say Hex is it's doing what Bitcoin's done in almost half the days, maybe 40% of the days. Let's kind of just be super conservative. If Bitcoin kind of had that top where it went over 100,000 in ROI just after 2,500 days, what would that put Hex, assuming it's like 40% of the days less, if that makes sense?
Oh, totally. Yeah. So you're basically saying what would, at the rate Hex is going at relative to Bitcoin.
Yes.
When and what price is this 20K
Yes.
top?
Yes.
All right, beauty. So this happened at day 2,700, and Hexes would be like 50-60% of that. So like day 1,300.
Okay.
And we're talking 200,000 X.
So 200,000 X on day 13-ish, 100.
Yeah. So 230X from here is like $92.
Man, $92 on day 1,300.
So which is like 2 years, less than 2 years from now.
Well, because the reason that tweet I keep talking about, when I had the $100 hex on day 1,200, I mean, based on this chart alone, has like $92 hex on day 1,300. I mean, this is more data that is just kind of backing that up. You know what I'm saying? So we're all in the same ballpark. And if that day comes and we're not at $100 hex, we're at $92. I mean, who's complaining? You know, all it takes is like a 10% move to kind of put us up there. I'm gonna take off my hoodie real quick. Give me 1 second. Sorry.
Yeah. That's interesting that our independent models converge. That's really cool to see. Just reading the chat.
Okay, I'm back. But yeah, that's just crazy to think. Like, I don't know if were you saying something else when I took off the headphones? I don't want to cut you off.
No, I was just reading the chat. Someone said ROI should be 10K on the chart. It shows 1K. This is ROI from launch. So remember, right after launch, there was a dip. So that's taken into account. Post-launch dip is in here. So this is going to be shifted down. If you want max ROI, I literally have a tab for that. You go LookIntoHex.com, maximum ROI. Boom.
That's crazy. He's got it all. This is better than the hex the hex page that kind of goes against all like the scam hex.com/scam or whatever. This beats
Yeah.
that just with data.
Right. I mean, if you're data minded, logical minded, this definitely will help convince you of what facts. I mean,
So how do you get that maximum ROI? I mean, like how do you put that together? I see the blue lines kind of like flat lined across on all these
yes.
pumps, and how do you put this together?
So this is basically dividing every single price point by the all-time low price point.
Okay.
So it assumes you
Oh,
got the all-time low price point.
okay. I see. And then
With
those blue
all
lines
this,
are just kind of the tops, just
yes,
flattened
yeah,
out. Okay,
yeah,
cool. Wow.
precisely. At any point, actually, yeah, that's what the yellow curve is, but the blue curve is at any given point dividing all-time high by all-time low. So all-time high, if
Oh,
it doesn't change for a while, this will just go flat until we
wow.
reach a new all-time high. So that is already at, 7,500x. The max it's been has been almost 10,000x, like 9,754. It probably wicked above it, but this just uses daily closes.
Yeah, that's
Um,
good. I like that.
this is before, after staking. After, we clearly already went right past it, and then just different kind of angles of the same charts. But just to address that comment that they were saying that it was wrong.
Yeah. Are you day one Hexagon, or I mean, like, how have you been in Hex a while, or I mean, seems like you've been in crypto a
Um,
long time.
I mean, I got wrecked in 2018 Bitcoin bear market when
Okay.
Bitcoin and Ethereum got just thrashed, bro.
Yeah.
Ethereum went from 1,600 to $80.
Yeah. So
Fucking
yeah, you're
wrecked,
part of it.
destroyed. And I was like, okay. But no, I heard about Hex. Yeah, before it even launched, I was there, like watching Richard's streams at launch. Um, but yeah, does that answer your question?
It does, yeah. Just the general idea, like, okay, because clearly you've been around for a while. Because when you talk about previous like price points and stuff, I'm like, okay, you the chart at least on Ethereum and Bitcoin and Hex and
Yeah,
stuff. So I'm like, okay, you've been around, but that's good. It's not good that you got wrecked, but it's good that you
no,
got
it
that
is.
experience in your back. Because like that's
Mhm.
what makes you, right? Like experience is ultimately the best teacher. We can go on here and tell people 1.5 million things, but until people really feel that, they're not going to know that, and I think that's kind of what makes it so special that we're streamers and together on this, because we kind of both come from an experience standpoint. We've both been through the highs and the lows of the markets of what crypto can really do, and it's easy for someone new to come into crypto that's going through that same range of motion. Unless you buy Hex, I mean, you guys are just blessed. If Hex is your
Yeah.
first crypto coin, you are lucky. You don't know half the battle, but it's good that we have people here that have been through it and kind of keep people calm in the midst of the chaos throughout, the pumps and the dumps and everything. So it's cool.
Dude, I almost feel like those guys, like old guys who had to use like old flip phones, and that's like Bitcoin. And you're like, oh
Yeah.
wait, your first phone was like an iPhone 13. Like, oh, okay.
You don't know
That's
the struggle.
basically, you don't know the struggle precisely.
Yeah, that's funny. So yeah, I mean, if you want to show me more on the hex chart, because I do want to talk to you a little bit about Pulse later, but like I want to
Let's do it
cover
now.
everything you have with hex, because all these charts you have are. I'm glad this exposure is happening for me in the charts, but for people that are watching, like the charts you're showing, kind of how about what they measure and everything, like. People like look at these. If Gerardo's not streaming, if I'm not streaming, if like hex people in the charts aren't streaming, these charts are doing their things at all times. You'll get your answers here, So
Precisely.
show what you got.
All right. Yeah. I mean, let me know what which ones you have any specific questions on. I'll scroll down a bit for you to see. I'm gonna add your channel to my description real quick. I forgot to do that.
Okay. It's all goody.
Channel. Everyone follow him. Thank you for
Yeah.
coming on, bro. Put your thing in the chat. Awesome. Yeah. All right. Which ones should we look at? Obviously, the Hex versus Bitcoin and ETH was a good idea to put them both at the same time. We looked at the regression rainbow. I think adoption. I'm loving this one lately.
Yeah, show me that. Oh yeah, I saw those stats you put up in that group chat we're in. But yeah, let's talk about that because those are some unreal stats.
Let's pull it up on the actual Google sheet. It's easier to manipulate.
Yeah.
Cool. This is just your Hex stakers and your Hex holders versus ETH. And it's crazy how we're overperforming ETH like we've been talking about for the past, 30, 40 minutes with less adoption.
Wow. That's so, and wow. So let me see.
Nice.
I'm trying. My eyes are horrible, but
We're over 500 viewers. That's nuts. Appreciate it.
500 plus viewers. Wow. I mean, that's awesome. I'm glad. I mean, I feel like the value's there. I kind of expected a good turnout, but that's impressive, especially you. I mean, you're the cash cow when it comes to streaming. So it's probably like 75-25, but I'm glad to, kind of contribute with you. But
no, definitely people liking the combo. All these comments are like great combo, dream team, great duo. Like, no, it's fire. This is great, man. People love it.
I'm glad. And I was telling Gerard before we actually started the stream, like, there's no way we can cover everything in one stream. So, I mean, we'll definitely do it again. But I'm glad we finally kind of broke the ice and talked about all the stuff that I'm glad that, everything happens for a reason, right? Like our stream, we tried doing it weeks or months ago. It just never happened. Now, here we are. But how many more new people are in HEX that need to see this, that maybe haven't seen it before, and now they're getting a crash course on all of that, simple TA, simple way to look at your charts about your website. It's really good stuff here, So what based on this adoption since launch chart you have going on here? I can't read my screen's so little. So the Hex stakers is the pink line, Hex holders blue line, and ETH is how many people are just in ETH till this day, and kind of the trend of how many. Right. Oh, okay. So Hex holders, so the stakers are just consistently going up. The holders is So it looks like even this chart, Hex is happening at a faster rate because essentially, obviously, ETH has that long, like 45-degree trend up and to the right, then it's kind of slowly flatlining. Hex, but it's still going up. But Hex, same thing, but just way quicker, like you said. But that staker line you have, it's looking like it's turning into one of those like parabolic type of moves where it's just going to swing up and cross both of them eventually.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, I mean, interesting. I'd have to ask Ryan, who runs Hex Daily Stats. I use his website as source data for these charts, but I'd have to ask him if these are overlapping or not, because that's a good point.
Oh, like I see what you mean.
Yeah, precisely. If does a staker count as a Hex holder or not, or are they like independent completely? Because
it'd be impossible to overlap it at that point.
Right,
then
precisely. But if they're independent, then you're right. Yeah, Hex stakers could definitely overlap.
Yes, I would assume not then. So that means, well, I guess if let's assume that the Hex holders are included in the staker and it's impossible for them to cross. If that staker pink line showing us one thing, if it's starting to flip up like a parabolic line, that must mean the Hex holder thing is going to flip up too. And you got to just factor in PulseChain, buy one, get one Hex, pre-viral. I mean, once that day comes and the gates come down, I mean, the stars are aligning and the technical analysis on this chart's looking good too.
Right. But like, look at the curvature of these.
Yeah.
All right, it's starting to curve up, which is
because
really
ETH
cool.
isn't. ETH looks like it might be hitting a slow in momentum. It looks like it's starting to maybe curve down or at the worst case flatline. But yeah, Hex is. It's the stars are kind of aligning there. So man, this is crazy data. This is I'm sure you don't mind, but I'm really going to use these charts when I stream because this is something that everyone has to look at.
Yeah.
Shout out to you for all of this, man.
Yeah, bro. Of course. Like I'm just creating the charts that I wanted to see, kind of thing. And this is important because onboarding new users is like the main goal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And to see that it's happening is really cool to see, and see the rate at which it's happening and be able to compare to something like ETH and realize that Hex is outperforming ETH historically with less adoption. And then you see this curving up. You're like, oh, if you're of the type to, like, I'm pretty sure This is something huge for venture capitalists. If you wanted to get them in, they care about user base and a growing user base.
Of course, yeah.
So, like, you show them that, you show them the cult like following, you show them the, these fundamentals, and you're like, bro.
Just imagine that day you get like an Elon Musk, Michael Saylor type of person. I don't know if you know this guy. He's a sports guy, the Dave Portnoy. He runs Barstool, but like
Yeah, I know
he's
Dave.
famous. He has a platform. I think that's like the guy. He'll be that first big guy because he did that pizza review. Someone kind of pitched him HEX.
I saw that.
At least he told them about HEX. I mean, the pitch. I mean, it could have been, whatever. It's on the spot,
Yeah.
but. I feel like Portnoy, he can be that first guy. And once you get someone like with his type of energy rallied behind it, like just for the entertainment alone, he's going to onboard people. But we might see someone like him get in the market soon. And for the first time, he'll probably not be getting wrecked by day trading because HEX will save him. But once the day comes, HEX is doing all this before anything major happens. Ethereum has all that major push. Bitcoin has all that major push. HEX doesn't. HEX doesn't care, and people that are skeptical or worried or bearish on HEX, the price just simply doesn't care. And sometimes we got to just step out of our ego, remove ourselves, and just kind of just understand reality and just go with the flow instead of swimming against it. And that's what HEX is doing.
100%, dude. Yeah, and it's okay. Like some of these guys won't get it for a while, but that's okay.
Yeah, because now we're talking, say in 24 months, worst case, we're flirting with $100 HEX. I mean, even if you buy HEX at $1 to $10, it's still cheap HEX for what HEX is. If nobody knew the price of Bitcoin, Ethereum, HEX, and somebody brand new to crypto is like, here, this is what coin A does, coin B, and coin C. You'd be like, okay, if say HEX is coin C, you would be like, okay, that's the best one based on what it does. Okay, which one do you think is the highest price? You probably think it's HEX because of what it does, and it's actually the cheapest price by a massive margin. So it's always going to be cheap. It's never. I mean, eventually we could be talking thousands. We'll get there when we get there, but like you're not going to have to put in $1,000 to buy one HEX anytime soon. You need more than 1,000 just to get an Ethereum or even a slight bit of Bitcoin. So the argument's always going to be there.
True. Like the unit bias is very real.
Yeah.
In terms of how much you can get just because of the units that were chosen.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, if you want to show me some more charts, you have any other data you want to throw in here, that'd be great. And then we can talk about Pulse a little bit.
Let's do it, man. Yeah, I just kind of want to look because we're at the end of the quarter today, last day of the quarter. So just kind of seeing where we ended up at. So we just need one more day of data and we'll see. I mean, this is basically the second highest performing quarter ever of HEX.
And so with these lines, they're just the quarters individually. Okay. Yes. So right now, what's the current line of this quarter that just ended? What color? Pink. Okay. Oh, wow. So it is the second highest ending ever. That orange one, what is that, like April 2020, I'm assuming? That whole Godwell pump? Okay.
2020, yeah.
Man, we're getting close. Right, we are getting close. So, man, once that viral day once the gates come down and HEX is just known and people know about it, like, wow, that's another great chart. I don't know how you come up with this.
Just like parsing by quarter. I mean, another big one for like businesses who care about having, crypto on their balance sheet, a profitable quarter. They have to do earnings loss reports. This is average quarter is 3.7x.
Wow.
So it's like what? So
average
Q4 incoming.
Wow. So just on average, so let's go 3.5x. So we get a Q4 3x off of it. Just ended at 42 cents. What is that, like 100 or $1.28 for Q4 or whatever?
Did you really do that math correctly in your head in like half a second?
Maybe like $1.20, $1.20 something, $1.26, 28 for. I'm going on 42 cents.
147.
140. See, okay, there we go. So $1, and then Q4 is ending what? December 2021, or
right?
January?
End of the year. End of the year.
So yeah, $1. Yeah, I mean, so $1 by the end of the year. I mean, it's kind of inevitable. I feel, right. And like I said, I'm not making a prediction, but like I've been putting it out there lately. Like we should see a $1 HEX by Halloween. I'm because it's just over a 2x away. These pumps that we get off these bull flags that range anywhere from like 70% up to like 3-4x. Yeah. So just going like 2.1 or 2.2x or whatever on this next pump, we're talking $1, and those pumps happen within like 2 to 3 weeks before they pull back. And then, yeah, I mean, especially with PulseChain, I mean, Testnet's out. We're not getting a Testnet pump or anything, but once we get, like PulseChain, mainnet and everything, once everything kind of like materializes and comes to fruition, I feel like we're going to see a next pump, and $1 should just be like a target there, right? Just a step on the ladder. But these are real numbers that, I mean, everyone has to pay attention to, and it's not even moon boy talk.
Yeah, man. I want to answer this question. Someone with a super chat, I appreciate it. They say, I love Hex, but how can it be worth 100 trillion by market cap? I find this unlikely since the world's wealth is 176 trillion. The reason why it's possible is because market cap is literally just a product. It's just taking two numbers and multiplying them together. It's not even a real something. It's not like a real physical metric like square meters or like square feet. It's just it attempts to represent the total circulating value in a system, but it doesn't, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and also too, I mean, like the whatever, even if we want to try to rationalize like the market cap with the total amount of wealth in the world, like there's trillions and trillions of dollars being printed, and the US dollar is still backing everything in the world right now. So like that number of total wealth in the world is going up with everything else. Like the market caps are going up, the total number of trillions of dollars being printed is going up. Richard Hart calls it the helicopter money. It's got to land somewhere. What better asset than anything in crypto, really? I mean, you can buy, if it's not a rug pull, you can buy anything in crypto. It's still going to go up as long as you hold it for a few years. If you buy a HEX, all you got to do is hold it for like 3-4 weeks, worst case, and you're going to be, up. So, I mean, there's so much money in the world. And yeah, like you said, market cap, Richard Hart calls it the vanity metric. It literally means nothing. And there's probably no way that anybody can confirm those actual numbers. But it's just good to monitor because I guess that's what the coin ranking sites rank our coins at. But nothing's impossible, especially in HEX. I mean, everything we thought was impossible, it's just been proven wrong hundreds and hundreds of times. There's really the only way someone can doubt HEX is if they're just finding out about it and they're not listening to the right people. That's literally it.
Someone says, referring to both of us, how come we don't have 1 million+ followers? Time will come, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you're on your way there. I mean, I see you're I think you like broke like 8K or something.
Yes, sir.
I think I was watching you earlier this year, and maybe you had like 1 to 2 grand. I could be wrong, but you. So I mean, with you, like, man, that's the only chart that's keeping up with HEX price right now is Gerardo's follower count, because he's going. You might be viral before HEX is, and also too. I know that sounds funny, but I know. In the reality of this is, like, I think that's a good, it sounds silly. It's not really anything technical involving HEX, but the growth that we're seeing, like one of the leaders like you have, and even me, I just started Twitter like 4 months ago and I have like a couple thousand followers, and it's like, it's crazy because like I just didn't, but just the growth of like the influencers, that's a bad word, but the I guess for lack of better terms, the growth of the influencers in the HEX community really resembles the growth of HEX too, right? Because if people aren't coming into HEX and people aren't, jumping on the wave, they're not following people like us. So that's another advanced metric that's kind of more fundamental than technical, but like it just shows the growth of HEX in general. We want to be growing if HEX isn't growing. So yeah, did we lose you?
I'm still here. You can still hear me, right?
Yeah, I think your camera went out. It's all good.
Yeah, my camera died. I forgot to charge it last night.
It's all good.
But yeah, touching on a few of those things, I did plot my follower or subscriber count versus t-shirt price. It couldn't keep up. T-shirt price outran it.
Dang. I thought we had something that was finally outperforming HEX in this world. I guess we got to wait till Pulse.
No, t-shirts defeated my subscriber count pretty quickly. Like the day after I plotted it, it was just like moon. I was like, uh-oh, never mind.
Nah.
But yeah, I guess we can do with just the charts. We got a super chat. Great work, gentlemen. Cash Plus, appreciate it, bro. Appreciate all of these. You guys are nuts. You guys are getting too rich with HEX.
I swear, you're about to make you're up like $750 in a stream. You guys got to get Gerardo. Get him another $250. Get him $1,000 on stream. That'd be an impressive feature.
Don't tempt them; they'll actually do it. Go buy some HEX instead, y'all.
Just do it. Just do it.
No, I think that might be a record for sure, dude. We hit multiple records on this stream.
I'm glad. Breaking all barriers. This is awesome. I'm glad. I'm just glad we got to do this and talk. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Gerardo and I, we talk, I mean, over text and group chats, Twitter. This is our first time actually physically talking. So you guys are kind of here. We're all together for the first time. Like literally, we talked for maybe 2 minutes in the green room before the actual stream, but
True.
this is pretty
That's a
cool.
good point. It's a really good point. I can't believe we haven't hopped on like at least a green room chat or anything.
Yeah. Yeah, this is it's pretty cool. This is just it's fun. By the way, it's a pleasure, doing this with you. I enjoy it.
Thanks,
It's
bro.
fun
Yeah.
and
Likewise.
chemistry's there, so it's just natural, which is good, nothing forced. And I like to just hop on stream and kind of just like I always say, shoot from the hip. I don't really have too much structure. I know we didn't have much structure to it, but like it's just natural, we just let it flow and just let two minds kind of, pick each other's brain apart. So it's enjoyable. But I want to talk to you a little bit about Pulse, right? Because I know you had some streams where you were throwing out numbers and calculators, and I'm like, man, I'm not even going to try to keep up with them. I'm just going to listen to what the number is at the end. So now that we have, as much data that we have with the sacrifice phase, and we have a little sample of what testnet is and whatnot. I mean, I'm not going to hold you to it. No one else should hold you to it. But I mean, what are you thinking for like everything, all the information that you've gathered in your time? What can you see Pulse? Obviously, it's starting at 0, but where can you see market discovery putting a price on it? Maybe day 1 or in the first week or so. What are you thinking here?
It depends on who sets the market, because the initial liquidity pools are the ratio of the initial liquidity pools are going to be price, because if you primarily trade on a decentralized exchange, something like HEX, which primarily trades on Uniswap, you have the majority of the volume there, like 80-90% of all the volume. You wait, I go on these like tangents, and then what was the question? I'm sorry.
So I was saying, just based on everything like where can you see market discovery?
Right.
What kind of price can you see in Pulse after market discovery, really?
Right. Sorry.
You're good.
So it's the initial either person or bot that sets the initial liquidity pool for Pulse versus something of actual value. So there are some theories out there that it might be like think about what the sacrifice address has. Obviously, no expectation of work or profit from the work of others, but it could, if it wanted to, wrap a bunch of USDC and wrap it over onto PulseChain and set a liquidity pool of PLS versus wrapped USDC. And if you inject that pool with, say, like let's say 100 million USDC and 100 billion Pulse, then the ratio of those two is 1/1,000.
Okay.
And so you have a price of $1 divided by 1,000, which is what, like a tenth of a penny.
You tell me, like that's where you lose me. I'm visual, right? You're over here throwing these numbers. So 0.001.
Right. So that's just if that was the ratio. But again, it depends on who sets that ratio, how much liquidity they decide to set on each side, because it's going to be a fork of Uniswap v2. No, because v3 isn't forkable, legally speaking. So we don't get that asymmetric liquidity kind of limit order action for v3 over on PulseChain, unless someone builds kind of their own. I guess we're forking over. I'm not sure if Matcha is like a contract, because, or I mean, if 1inch comes over, then there you go. We have limit orders. Wait, do they do limit orders?
I think 1inch does. I think 1inch and Matcha both do. I've never used 1inch personally in my life, but I think 1inch allows slippage or the least amount of slippage based on what I've heard, but never tried it personally.
Yeah, same. So with that said, I primarily traded on a V2 fork. It's going to be symmetric liquidity after that. So yeah, we have to just rely on that initial ratio. So it's hard to tell, like if it's the SAC address itself, if it's a bot. I've heard rumors that it's going to be up to just the market participants like you and I, if we want to provide liquidity. If no one's willing to provide that much and it's a low liquidity pool, then it can pump really hard and it can dump really hard. As we know, like low liquid markets can.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
It's just a guess when you're asking like initial price. Something that I do think about is the price points at which people are sacrificing. the
Okay.
rates. I guess I shouldn't say price points, the dollar rates at which people are sacrificing, and kind of the dollar volume entering at each of those price points. And
Okay.
if you could see a chart of that, it would sort of be like a volume profile index where you have your curve of price like this, and you have like a histogram over here of like a ton of people sacked right here, and like less people sacrificed here, less here. Maybe it like dies off as it gets more expensive. And
Man,
so
so
this might be some sort of market structure in the future in terms of price, which is like, okay, a bunch of people sacrifice here, so they're going to want to protect that price, so it might be like a bottom or something, and whatnot. If there's a spike here, then you see what I'm saying?
yeah, no, it makes sense. And I was thinking something like that. I was thinking like it almost seems, as good as we know Pulse is going to be and stuff, like it almost seems inevitable because, like, say in theory, Richard Hart's that first guy that puts in money into, the market liquidity provider, and he just puts a ton of money in there, even if he does all that, right? And he probably will. And
Good.
it's inevitable kind of to see that first initial pump and then dump. I wouldn't be shocked to see a dump go a little bit lower for a tiny amount of time than what the sacrifice phase rate was. I mean, I guess worst case scenario, but yeah, like how you said, those volume bars, they're eventually going to catch up, essentially. But I wonder how volatile it's going to be right out the gates, compared to like things like Hex Ethereum and, just Hex and Ethereum. Bitcoin's a different beast from a different time in this world.
I mean, this is the Ethereum chart right after launch. It opened at like $3, crashed back down. The sacrifice rate most people got was around 30 cents. So like around 32 cents or so. So it only wicked beneath it once on one exchange and never went back to the price people got in at during their sacrifice.
So let me ask you this, because I am not that early in Ethereum. I did not know. So there's a sacrifice phase for Ethereum, or what? Like, how did that go about starting? Okay, can you explain that briefly? And then we'll talk about a couple things. That clarifies a ton of things for me, and hopefully I can clarify that for people that kind of resonate with the way I think. So
this is written by Vitalik himself.
Okay.
July 22nd, 2014. Vitalik Buterin launching the Ether sale. You just look up Vitalik Ether sale on Google. It's like the third one or something. And I'm not going to read it all, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
Much, but he even highlights in bold. Here, let me zoom in. The important parts, right? Where you have a sacrifice period of 42 days.
Wow.
And a rate, a bonding curve of 2,000 ETH per BTC. It only accepted BTC, by the way, because it was like the crypto.
Off the top of your head, do you know the Bitcoin price was in dollar amount around that time?
$500 to $600.
$500 to $600. So you're getting 2,000 ETH per $500 to $600.
So that the ratio ends up at like 30 something cents.
Wow. Okay. So that's massive. That's massive data. So the ratio is 30 cents on ETH. And if you can pop back that chart you just had, what was the top of that first candle that was just completely red? What was that price?
$3. Yeah. It opened at a 10x.
So it opened at 10x. It came down to just above the sacrifice rate, and then it was history. Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Think about it too. Like Ethereum didn't launch their main chain until a year after their sack period too. So a lot of people that sacrifice maybe more than they could afford to like wait for a year to see their coins, or just paper hands who see a 10x and have never seen a 10x and just like sell. But like I pointed out, this price point was protected.
Wow. So that actually answers every question I've had. And like I said, there you go. That's data I never had in my head. And when I was thinking about this, so that adds to it. So thank you for that. But wow, I'm going to do more research on that. That's impressive now. So if I'm thinking PulseChain's a better version of Ethereum, initially my sentiment like 2 minutes ago was literally, I want to be shocked to see the price go lower than what the sacrifice phase rate was. But we've seen this in the past already, and it's showed that it started off 10x and never came down to the actual rate of the sacrifice phase and came up. If HEX, I mean, I guess we can't really use HEX to kind of with logic in this, but assuming that like people in HEX are the same people that are in PulseChain, I don't think the price is going to allow itself to go that low, at least at the sacrifice phase rate. And if it happens, it's going to happen a lot quicker, just like how everything we're witnessing now with, the Hexagon community. Because essentially, I feel like the Hexagon community is going to be the foundation of everything in Pulse day one. But there's way more people throughout all of their communities now that don't even like Hex that are going to be in this. So
Mhm.
that is impressive. So if you want to show real quick that chart again, so off that bottom, after the initial dip, what was that? It was that but not the wick itself, but the bottom above the sacrifice phase, that all-time low. What's the cent there?
43, 44 cents.
So 40 to 44 cents. And then that first pump before it started trading sideways, would that go all the way up to 44 cents? No, go even further. See all those green candles? That one. Yeah. What's that at? That top?
$15.
$15. And how many days was that? Or what's the month range from that bottom to that top?
It was 146 days. So just about like 5 months, a nice 36x.
So 36x in 5 months. Okay,
Hell
so
yeah.
that kind of gives us a little bit of a template to go off of. So assuming PulseChain, that's gonna be some tough math to do live, but okay, let me try to make it simple. So assuming PulseChain, worst case, comes down to the average sacrifice phase rate, maybe day 1 through 5 or whatever number you have, whatever that number is. What's a 36x on that? Just to have some idea if we're modeling exactly what Ethereum did.
Yeah,
if you can come up with that.
I'm just gonna use the base rate of 10,000 points per US dollar.
Okay.
Because there were bonuses and bonding curves, but you could just rough average say that.
Yeah. Let's keep it simple.
10,000. So 36 from there, you're talking about like 0.0036. So what, like a third of a penny?
A third of a penny. Wow. Zeros. That okay. So we can be. So yeah, it's like, so let's just say a third of a penny after the first 5-6 months. So the first half of a year. So maybe like talking summertime next year, latest. Not late. And we're not putting any time frames on this, but we can start seeing. Essentially, PulseChain, what I'm trying to get at is it seems like from the day it started, it's going to be a lot higher in price than what HEX was from the day it started. I'm guessing because HEX went real low in terms of just the actual unit value of what it costed. So assuming, we're 2 years into HEX and we'll say we top 50 cents in a couple of years, PulseChain in a couple of years, I mean, you're talking 75 to $1 just based on what we just kind of discussed with a bunch of generalities and rough numbers. So essentially, PulseChain's probably going to be more expensive than HEX if I had to kind of go off of that. What do you think about that kind of analysis?
It's hard to tell. If we look at the actual like community controlled supply, what are we looking at? Like maybe like 10 trillion units, 20 trillion units. So I don't know. It could be less. It could be cheaper than HEX actually. Maybe it takes unit bias to a whole new level.
Maybe
that's hard to tell, man. I wanted to point this out there real quick. This whole sideways period during Ethereum, because we stopped our analysis here at this peak, but I believe the DAO hack was somewhere around here, and so that obviously was a huge narrative for ceasing the bull trend. So if we see kind of smooth sailing with Pulse, no hiccups, no weird hacks, which I wouldn't be surprised for this thing to run flawlessly.
Yeah.
Then we might not even have this weird consolidation period, and it might be like, all right, we're looking at because like comparing HEX to ETH and BTC, it just whooped both. So comparing Pulse to ETH, it might whoop it too.
Yeah. That's a great point. So it kind of removes that fundamental of what probably the same fundamental that happened with that hack is not going to be the same fundamental, assuming PulseChain does exactly what it's designed to do.
Right.
And kind of it'll just remove. How long is that sideways trading for? It seems like it's been a year. Yeah. No, we're not waiting around for a year.
Yeah.
Okay. And I thought too, because all the numbers I just thought, Pulse being more expensive than HEX, if you just take out the staking factor, or at least monetizing the staking, I mean, that's probably a big play too, because the HEX pumpamentals are still the HEX pumpamentals. Pulse is Pulse, but HEX is still HEX, so I can't count that out. But it's cool to kind of just throw that idea out there and just have some numbers to kind of go off of. But that is awesome. That's awesome information. I like that. So this is great. I mean, I'm learning a lot just on the fly with this right now. I'm assuming people in chat are getting some good value from this too. So hopefully they are, because this is good for me. I'm loving this.
Awesome, bro. Same. Yeah, I hope I'm not confusing anyone, but
No, it's clear as day. I promise. If I
Awesome,
understand
man.
it, I'm pretty sure chat understands it
Let's
because I'm
go.
no like genius mind.
This is it's really interesting, like how similar they were. You can basically this is all transfer replaceable with Pulse, and it's true. Like Pulse isn't usable or transferable until Genesis block. You have your bonding curve, your time. It says the expected launch for Ethereum was in the winter, but we know it didn't launch until like the next July.
Yeah, software for you.
I hope that is. I mean, it's easier to. I always say it's easier to clone Ethereum than create Ethereum for the first time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, we've seen it plenty of times already with all these other forks that are successful.
Right,
So,
right. Not a security, blah blah. Then they talk about the issuance rates, right? Your inflation rate. Even have your sacrifice address. They call it the Exodus address.
wow. So, what is this page, real quick? What's the link to this page? What's the website called?
It's just blog.ethereum.org.
Blog.
So just Google Ether sale Vitalik, and then click on the blog.ethereum.org link, and that should be the right one.
Cool.
Pretty
That
interesting.
is awesome.
You can track, you can do chain analysis and see how much they received in terms of Bitcoin to that address, and it was like 32K Bitcoin. It was only
Times
like
what, like $600? What's that dollar amount?
like
Okay.
20 million bucks, I think.
Okay, so we're in the same. I mean, I know 13 billion was, the origin address or whatever of the sacrifice, but there's still what, like 6 to 7 billion before that happened. So
Right,
ultimately, we got
right.
20 to 21 billion total. So it's kind of the same parameter in that sense.
I mean, we got way more than the sacrifice address got way more than their Exodus address did.
Yeah, so that's a lot. So that's cool. That is good information. That's valuable data. I'm so glad we came across that. This is why the community loves you, Gerardo. You know a lot. You know a lot, and I'm glad I'm here because I feel like I'm just that
Thanks,
person
man.
that makes things simple and then in a world that's confusing. So
Yeah.
once I understand something, I'm pretty sure it gets easy for everybody. But yeah, this is a good blend of just being super, macro and technical and diving into a lot of data that's not fully out there, but also just cramming it to make it super simple, So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, this can be life-changing for a lot of people, so it's definitely important to make it simple to understand, and you do a great job of that. Definitely, I do my best. Sometimes people say I have no idea what you're talking about, but that's okay too, because then
It's all good. I mean, the people get it. Like what you like, it shows, right?
Yeah.
Like the results speak the truth, and just the community growing around you. That's the truth. People can say this, that, but like the results speak the ultimate truth. So I mean, yeah, this is good. This is good that we have each other here, and I think it's good for the community, right? But I think that it's good. That's kind of like every major thing I wanted to talk about. I don't want to cut you short, but I already told you I had a meeting. I had to push it back a little bit. I do have to get going here soon.
Do your meeting, bro.
I think we should shoot for like another stream, maybe after we get that dollar hex. If we get a dollar hex by Halloween or something, let's hop back on and just celebrate and just kind of dive into the new data that we have at that point. What do you think?
I love the idea, and maybe we can get some of the other guys on like Axis and Wales, and
Yeah, we talked about that briefly, so I think we're due for that.
To what you just said, to everyone in the chat too, we were talking about hopping on if Hex broke 20 cents. I remember a while back, and like look at where we are now. So you're talking about hopping on when it's $1. We'll be lucky if it's not higher by then.
Yeah, that means we'll be on when it's $10. So
precisely. But yeah, no, hopefully it's sooner. Or yeah, hopefully we hop on soon. I want to answer this last question, the super chat by Bradley. He says, can you explain the having to move your coins within 30 days or they got taken? This only applies to if you hold Ethereum now. Like, let's say you hold 1 Ether, you'll get 1 freemium PLS. Just if you hold 2 Ether, you'll get 2 PLS, and so on. Or even if a fraction of an Ethereum, you'll get the same fraction of a PLS. If you don't move that freemium PLS within 30 days to a new address, that amount will be deducted from that address. So, and it doesn't distinguish between coins. These aren't NFTs. These are fungible tokens, meaning if there's a balance in there after 30 days, it will remove the freemium balance. So like the 1 PLS. if you care about that. None of your
Okay.
sacrifice coins will be taken away from you, though. That's
Yeah.
it.
No worries there.
Yeah, but if you have a balance, and keep that in mind, because like if you have Ethereum in the sacrifice address, or if you have Ethereum in the coin in the address you sacrifice from, then after 30 days, that amount will be deducted, regardless of if it's the same coins or not. I just want to point that out.
Yeah, and keep in mind too, people, like, it's, don't let that worry you, because the price of PulseChain for 30 days is going to be so tiny that even if you're a Vitalik, you probably wouldn't like notice too much of a dip, you know,
Precisely.
in your
Precisely.
actual like dollar amount in your MetaMask. So don't worry, it might be a few cents or a few, 10, 20, 30 cents, depending on how much ETH you hold. But yeah, good thing
Precisely.
you brought
Like
it up.
if you sacrifice, just say like $100, if you only sacrifice $100 at the 10,000 point rate, and you say you have, you're expecting to get about 1 million PLS, 1 million Pulse tokens, and let's say you hold like 1 Ethereum in your wallet, and that's already like 2-3 grand, then you'll be deducted 1 out of your 1 million. So it's like barely even noticeable. But if you care about it, move your coins.
So
Yep.
I don't know if you know about this or not, but the fact that they can remove that balance from your wallet, like, how is that possible? And can that compromise, like, I'm not that technical about how the actual blockchain works, at least the
Yeah.
Ethereum network and stuff. How is that even possible? They can take money out of your wallet after it's already in there, you know?
It's literally as simple as, because I tried coding in Solidity a little while back,
Okay.
and I think it's as simple as just like deducting the balance in a line of code. And that's why crypto is very dangerous. Like you have to make sure these contracts are audited and whatnot. But if that function is just isolated, where it's like, okay, after 30 days, so it sets a timer, um, is there balance in here? Or did this address receive premium pulse? Yes. Okay. Is there balance in here? Yes. Okay. Remove that amount.
Oh,
If
yeah,
it's just
yeah.
constrained to there and you don't see subtractions of balance literally anywhere else, then it's fine.
And
And that's
that's
just like
just
a rule.
then that's just code that's literally like based on just that 30 days. Once that 30 days is gone, it's kind of like that code's history. It's never going to be in the works again, at least with
Right.
polls.
Correct.
Oh,
Correct.
yeah.
It'll
Okay.
die
That makes
after
sense.
30 days, that piece of code.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, cool. Well, yeah. So, I mean, it was good. I don't know if you're going to keep going or not, but I have to hop out. So I just want to just tell you, thank you for everything that you do. I know the community
Yeah,
loves
bro.
you and respects you. So just keep doing what you're doing. We'll hop on again soon. It was a pleasure. It was fun. A lot of valuable data for myself, and hopefully everybody else enjoyed that. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, it was nice to meet you, I guess, formally, through a camera. So
Yeah,
yeah,
bro.
until next time.
Likewise. It was a huge pleasure. Everyone go follow Jenkinz. His YouTube link is in my description, so go follow him. You're crushing it too. You're doing things. You found your own lane, bro. So that's important. That's huge. And remember that the YouTube game it's exponential. So like the curve starts becoming exponential if you just keep saturating the algorithm with content and keep just showing up, right? Is
Yeah.
half the battle. But
No,
yeah, dude,
yeah.
keep
I
doing what you're
appreciate
doing.
that.
Thanks for coming on. Go to your meeting. And yeah, bro, hopefully we'll hop on when Hex is $1 or more.
Will do. All right. All right. I'll see you guys later. Talk to you
All right,
later,
peace, bro.
Gerardo.
Good chatting. Peace. All right, guys. Yeah, so I'm gonna hop off soon as well. I have some things to do. Appreciate all the super chats. You guys are nuts. Great stream, bros. Thank you. Vegas love. Appreciate it. Crypto Black Sheep. Yeah. Time to stay in your lane. Nice. Thank you, Hex Mackenzie. Great stream. Thank you, everyone. All right. This is nuts. We got record super chats, record viewings. Crypto Jenkinz is the man. Go follow him on YouTube, on Twitter. His Twitter's fire, by the way. Go check out his Twitter. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next stream. Thanks for watching. Thank you for 8,000 subs. Check out the new LookIntoHex merch shop, lookintohex.shop, or just the charts themselves, lookintohex.com. Right? You have your charts, your VIP list here with the private trading view indicators, the unique custom access dashboard, and weekly videos and quarterly reports, right? Whipping up a quarterly report for Q3 Q3 of 2021 as we head into the next quarter. But yeah, check out the site, check out the shop, the VIP list, all that. Appreciate you guys watching. Going Parabolic says Trap Going. Legends says bananas. Awesome. Yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.